everybody, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88 here, coming to you with a Linux History Shorties follow-up to the last episode we did on Gentoo. Basically some things have pretty much developed with Gentoo that I want to go over. This will not take long at all, people. If you want to see the full Linux History Shorties Gentoo that I did about 6 months ago, you could check out the video. I will link it in the description below. But for this one, this is a follow-up just to, to bring you all up to date about what's been going on with Gentoo, specifically with the announcement recently that Gentoo is going to be implementing a lot more binary packages, which I believe is going to be a really good thing. But before we get started with that, I have a little special guest with me. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, it's Ben from the StormOS Devs channel. What's up?
Okay, so I got basically Benny Boy here, so I got him on this because he's a Gentoo nutball. If you guys didn't know that already, if you catched our last Gentoo live installation, you should have caught on to that by now. But anyway,
and I have something I want to say about that real quick, Ricky.
sure.
So if you don't know, guys, like he said, I've done a lot of Gentoo installs, more than I can even count. But yeah, Gentoo is my hobby. It's sort of become I don't know, it's become like, I guess a daily driver for me of sorts alongside Arch, which is where we build our StormOS system, things like that. Gentoo is sort of my home distro.
Which, by the way, people, I know it's been a little bit since you haven't heard anything about StormOS. We will be doing a separate video from this in the near future at some point. Keep a lookout on my channel for that.
Folks, we actually have a brief update about that one. It's going to stay Arch. We're not changing the base, nothing like that.
Yeah.
We are currently in process of testing this month's ISO. They are built, but they're not done yet. So please keep your patience. We will be done with that hopefully soon. We can't give an ETA because we still got to finish testing them, things like that. So keep your eyes peeled, peoples.
So basically, that's a little bit of an update on StormOS, people, our distribution that me and Benny Boy work on amongst, other volunteers that do drop in once in a while. But also I want to add a little snippet to that as well. We were basing on LFS, but we got to a whole bunch of snags with LFS. LFS was giving a lot of me and Ben, a lot of trouble when it comes to trying to make an ISO. We tried scripts.
Guys, we almost had to throw the freaking towel in on the OS because it was just driving us insane.
I mean, we tried different build scripts. We've tried different avenues trying to get an LFS-based distro. It just wasn't happening. So me and Ben were talking, and we decided, let's go
We're going back to the roots, guys.
We decided that we're going back to what worked in the first place, Arch Linux. So that's pretty much the whole. That's pretty much the whole stick on StormOS. So, but once again,
we'll have a ISO for you by the end of this month.
By the end of this month,
again, we can't commit to that.
Exactly. I mean, he's got priorities. I got mine. So expect an ETA on the ISO to be at the end of this month, possibly early to mid next month. That's the deadline right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, you all are here for us to talk about the follow-up to the Linux History Shorties Gentoo that I did about 6 months ago, 6.5 maybe. But to get you all up to speed, for those who are seeing this video for the first time, or those who have watched my Linux History Shorties Gentoo from before, Gentoo is an operating system, a Linux-based operating system, just like any other. But this one is one of those independent-based built OSs. It's not based on Ubuntu. It's not based on Arch. It's not based on Fedora. It's not based on anything. It's its own little thing. And Gentoo has been around, folks, since, let me go to the date, March 31st, 2002, 22 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and it's a rolling release. It uses the Portage Package Manager, and as you can see here, folks, it's available for all these architectures here. If you want to pause the video for just a few minutes to look at the stats here, I will leave them right here for you all. But anyway, the biggest follow-up when it comes to Gentoo, folks, and this is what me and Ben are going to talk about, is Gentoo over the holiday season, like late December, early January, somewhere around there, announced that they are going to be implementing more binary packages. Like, for example, binaries of Chromium, binaries of other types of applications that people normally use. The announcement was made, like I said, over the holiday season, early January, and it was monumental, folks. It was on almost every Linux news site around. And when me and Ben found out about this, we were just in awe, because for so long, a lot of us Linux users have wanted Gentoo to implement more binaries, and lo and behold, they started doing that, and there is a ton of binary packages inside Gentoo, making basically live installs and bare metal installs of Gentoo so much easier. Do you want to say anything, Ben?
Yeah. In regards to that, guys, I have tested Gentoo with binaries. I will tell you, it is a ton quicker. I mean, now you can get Gentoo installed in, I don't know, like maybe an hour, if at best. But yeah, I mean, that's just a rough estimation. So,
yeah, it's
yeah,
basically
it's a very, it's not the pain in the neck that it used to be.
Yeah, it's not
Not at all.
as difficult as it used to be. I mean, it's a lot better with the binaries, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, to some people it may go against, the whole building from source philosophy. I can understand that. But at the same time, when you're wanting to build a Gentoo installation and you don't want to go through so many hoops, the binaries are there to speed up the process.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm personally not a big person who cares if he uses that sort of thing.
Yeah. Also, while I'm on the wiki page, besides showing you all the stats here, if you all want more information on Gentoo, you can go to gentoo.org. I'm not gonna go over this wiki page like I did the first time. If you all want to pause and read it, you feel free to. I mean, it displays the entire history of Gentoo, the Gentoo Foundation, and all that. So, once again, if you want to read this, you can pause it and read it, or you can go to Wikipedia and type in Gentoo Linux and you'll find it. But the one thing I will also want to touch on when it comes to Gentoo is recently, and this has a lot to do with Gentoo, by the way, folks. Calculate Linux, which is a Gentoo-based distribution, has changed its release model. And what I mean by that, folks, is basically their releases used to be a little different. I don't know the exact details, But the new release model is going to be based around the nightly builds that Calculate Linux has been releasing, which means it's going to get the most up-to-date packages, the most up-to-date patches. Basically, it's going to be updating most likely a lot more frequently. So if you all want a Gentoo based distribution that basically does a lot of the groundwork for you out of the box, check out Calculate Linux. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it is honestly, guys, the easiest way to get your foot in the door with Gentoo.
There used to be other options that were active. I mean, there used to be Sabalion, which was around like 2018, 2019. That no longer
That
exists.
now it lives on as Mochaccino OS.
Yeah, it lives on as Mochaccino OS, basically a spiritual successor. And then you got Red Core Linux, which we don't talk about because
Yeah,
it's not as
it's
good as it
gone
used
to
to
the
be. I've tried to install Red Core on stream a few times, and I could never get the thing to fully boot in a VM. It crashes. There's graphical issues.
it,
It's just not as good as it used to be. So I recommend either Calculate or Mochaccino OS if you wanted something a little
one
bit
of the
different.
two, guys. Yeah,
And the
it's
cool thing,
those two
oh,
distros are much better.
and the cool thing about Mochaccino OS is it has its own package manager called Loot. So
Yeah,
if you
it
want to
is.
experience a different package manager, you could try Mochaccino OS.
Oh,
If you want to just do old fashioned Gentoo installs the emerge way, you can do Calculate.
yeah.
So basically, other than that, I mean, there's really not much else to say except Gentoo Foundation and people who work on Gentoo. From me and Ben to you guys, thank you so much for your hard work, your dedication, and for implementing a lot more binaries that will help us to install Gentoo much easier. Thank you all so very much. But
Yeah.
But other than that, I think really that's pretty much all that needs to be said
Oh,
here. Oh,
one other thing, Ricky. Again, I don't have an ETA on this one either, but
mm,
from what my buddy Josh, aka Tenley J, has told me, we're most likely getting Gen 2 built with Calamares at some point this year. Again, I don't know when, so I'm not sure for that.
and if it happens to hit at some point, like maybe late this year, you can rest assured that I will be covering the news on this channel,
Yeah.
folks. So keep a lookout for that.
Yes. And
Anyway,
I will
oh,
be doing a slight video on it as well.
yeah.
Right.
But anyway, that's pretty much it for this short follow-up to Linux History Shorties Gen 2. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and until next time, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88 and Benny Boy saying see you later.